the question that haunts every human heart. You've stood by a casket, staring at the lifeless face of someone you loved, and felt the silent scream of your soul. Where are they now? Religion offers canned answers: heaven, hell, purgatory, reincarnation. But the Bible paints a far more complex and startling picture. Jesus told a story that shatters all simplistic views of the afterlife. In Luke 16, he describes a beggar named Lazarus who dies and is carried by angels to Abraham's side, while a rich man wakes up in Hades, in torment. These men are fully conscious, able to converse, remember their lives, and even plead for warning to be sent back to the living. This isn't some parable, it's a direct glimpse behind the veil of death. The three realms Scripture reveals: paradise, Abraham's side. Jesus told the thief on the cross, "Today you will be with me in paradise." Luke 23:43. Paul later speaks of being caught up to the third heaven, to paradise. 2 Corinthians 12:2-4. A temporary holding place of comfort for the righteous dead. Hades, torment. Not final hell, Gehenna, but a waiting place of anguish. The rich man begs for just a drop of water. Luke 16:24. Contains compartments. 1 Peter 3:19 suggests Jesus preached to spirits in prison. The grave, Sheol. Hebrew concept of the underworld, Psalm 88:3. All souls went here before Christ's resurrection, Ecclesiastes 9-10. Now only a physical reality, not spiritual. This is light years beyond. Good people go up, bad people go down. Why modern Christianity gets this wrong? Most churches teach one of two extremes. Soul sleep, the dead are unconscious until resurrection. Contradicts Jesus' story and Paul's desire to be away from the body and at home with the Lord, 2 Corinthians 5:8. Instant heaven or hell. Ignores the biblical distinction between Hades, temporary, and Gehenna, final judgment. Overlooks the third heaven as distinct from God's ultimate dwelling. The truth: death isn't the end, it's a transfer station. The afterlife's most shocking feature. The dead aren't just waiting, they're aware. Scripture shows. Samuel recognizes Saul when summoned, 1 Samuel 28:12. Moses and Elijah discussed Jesus' coming death at the Transfiguration, Luke 9:30-31. The martyrs under the altar ask how long, Revelation 6:9-11. This isn't ghost stories, it's divine revelation about consciousness after death. What's next? But here's what will shake you most. The Bible suggests some dead may actually be watching us right now, and this changes everything about how you live. The unseen audience you didn't know you had. The writer of Hebrews drops a bombshell most readers miss. We are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, Hebrews 12:1. This isn't poetic metaphor, it's a seismic revelation about the dead's awareness of the living. Those witnesses are the heroes of faith, just listed in Hebrews 11, Abraham, Moses, Rahab, who now watch the unfolding story of God's people. Imagine it. Your departed grandmother who prayed for you daily might now see the fruits of those prayers from the other side. The martyrs whose blood built the church may be cheering when you take your stand for Christ. This isn't ancestor worship, it's biblical reality. Death doesn't sever relationships, it transforms them. What the dead know and don't know about earth. Scripture gives surprising clarity about the departed's awareness. They remember earthly life. The rich man recalls his 5 brothers, Luke 16:28. Martyrs remember their unjust deaths, Revelation 6:9-10. They celebrate heavenly victories. Angels rejoice over repentant sinners, Luke 15:10. The elders cast crowns before God's throne, Revelation 4:10. They don't know everything. No indication they see all earthly events. Apparently unaware of future prophecies, 1 Peter 1:12. This balanced view avoids both naive superstition and sterile isolationism. The dangerous truth about communicating with the dead. While the departed are conscious, Scripture sternly warns against seeking contact. Saul's seance disaster, 1 Samuel 28. The consulted Samuel gave accurate information and a death sentence. Isaiah's condemnation, Isaiah 8:19. Should not a people consult their God? Should they consult the dead on behalf of the living? Jesus' silence. Never encouraged summoning departed saints. Pointed to Scripture as sufficient, Luke 16:29. God forbids necromancy not because it doesn't work, but because it does. How the resurrection changes everything. Christ's empty tomb altered the afterlife's geography. Paradise relocated. Ephesians 4:8 suggests Jesus led captives from Sheol to heavenly realms. Hades' days are numbered. Revelation 20:14 shows death itself being thrown into hell, our future bodies. 1 Corinthians 15:52 promises we'll be changed in a moment. This isn't Platonic immortality, it's Hebrew resurrection. Why this matters for your grief. Knowing the dead are conscious but inaccessible. Comforts without compromising. They're alive, but we don't need mediums. Motives without morbidity. Live worthily of their witness, Hebrews 12:1. Hopes without hysteria. Focus on Christ's return, not ghostly visits. Healthy grief acknowledges both their presence with God and our temporary separation. What's next? But here's what will stretch your mind. The Bible hints some dead may be closer than we think, engaged in activities that defy all our funeral sermon platitudes. The dead are busier than you think. The common assumption that souls float aimlessly on clouds, strumming harps, couldn't be further from biblical reality. Scripture reveals startling post-mortem activities that shatter our funeral home platitudes. Moses and Elijah discuss Christ's coming crucifixion at the Transfiguration, Luke 9:30-31, proving the dead engage in strategic spiritual warfare. The martyrs under the altar actively petition God for justice, Revelation 6:9-11, their cries shaping Earth's unfolding drama. The 24 elders cast crowns before God's throne, Revelation 4:10, participating in heaven's worship government. This isn't passive immortality, it's vibrant, purposeful existence beyond the grave. The afterlife's hidden work assignments. Paul's cryptic statement about being caught up to the third heaven, 2 Corinthians 12:2, hints at layered dimensions in paradise. Jewish tradition described 7 heavens with the first heaven, Earth's atmosphere, birds and clouds. The second heaven, cosmic space, stars and planets. The third heaven, paradise and God's immediate presence. But Scripture suggests even this hierarchy oversimplifies. The dead appear to be learning. 1 Peter 1:12 suggests angels long to understand salvation. Serving, Revelation 7:15 describes heavenly temple service. Reigning, 2 Timothy 2:12 promises we'll judge angels. Your departed loved ones aren't retired. They're likely enrolled in advanced spiritual training. Why ghost stories get it half right. Every culture has accounts of supernatural visitations because demons deceive. Fallen angels masquerade as departed loved ones, 2 Corinthians 11:14. Angels minister. God sometimes permits encounters. Luke 16's rich man begged to warn his brothers. God forbids contact, not because nothing's there, but because the risks outweigh any benefit. The paranormal is real, just not in the way pop culture claims. The mysterious baptism for the dead. Paul's passing reference to those being baptized for the dead, 1 Corinthians 15:29, has spawned endless speculation. While we can't be dogmatic, the context suggests early Christians practiced proxy baptism, perhaps for martyrs denied the chance. It underscored bodily resurrection. Why baptize a corpse if death is the end? Paul neither endorsed nor condemned it, used it to prove resurrection's reality. Even Scripture's mysteries point to ongoing connection between living and dead. How this should shape your life today. Live before witnesses. Hebrews 12:1's cloud of witnesses includes your spiritual ancestors. Grieve with hope. Death is a transfer, not termination. 1 Thessalonians 4:13. Prepare for deployment. Your current faithfulness trains you for eternal service. You're not killing time until heaven, you're in basic training for eternity. What's next? But here's what will rewrite everything. The Bible reveals some dead may temporarily return to earth, not as ghosts, but as divine messengers in history's most pivotal moments. When the veil thins, divine visitations from the departed. The Bible records startling moments when eternity brushed against time, not through shadowy seances, but through God-ordained encounters that rewrite our understanding of death's boundaries. Moses and Elijah's appearance at the Transfiguration wasn't some mystical exception. It was a revelation of the ongoing ministry of the glorified saints. These men didn't return as ghosts, but as ambassadors carrying revelation about Christ's coming crucifixion, Luke 9:31. Their presence shattered the disciples' assumptions about the finality of death, revealing that the departed remain active participants in God's unfolding plan. This changes everything about how we view the communion of saints, not as distant memories, but as living members of Christ's eternal body. The three biblical patterns of divine visitation. Comfort missions. An angel, possibly a glorified human, comforts Jesus in Gethsemane, Luke 22:43. The strong man who helped Samson push Gaza's gates may have been his departed father, Judges 16:3. Warning encounters. The rich man in Hades begs Abraham to send Lazarus back, Luke 16:27. Samuel's post-death appearance to Saul, though initiated improperly, carried divine truth, 1 Samuel 28:15-19. Prophetic revelations. The two witnesses in Revelation 11 are often identified as Enoch and Elijah. Moses' appearance at the Transfiguration carried Exodus symbolism about Christ's coming exodus, Luke 9:31. These aren't ghost stories. They're carefully orchestrated divine interventions. Why God sometimes sends the departed instead of angels. Heaven's messengers come in different forms for specific purposes. Angels often bring general revelations, Gabriel's announcements. Departed saints frequently appear when earthly connections amplify the message. Moses understood Israel's struggles. Elijah carried prophetic authority. The rich man knew his brothers' hearts. The personal history of glorified saints makes them uniquely qualified for certain missions, the dangerous imitations you must discern. While God occasionally sends the departed, Satan counterfeits this through familiar spirits, demons impersonating loved ones, 1 Samuel 28:7-14. Necromantic deceptions, channeled entities mixing truth with lies. Grief-induced hallucinations, the human mind's attempts to cope with loss. Test every spiritual encounter against Scripture, even those that seem comforting. How this changes your prayer life. Rather than seeking contact with the dead, Scripture directs us to pray to the Father through Christ, Matthew 6:9. Request angelic assistance, Hebrews 1:14. Honor the saints by continuing their work, Hebrews 13:7. The healthiest way to connect with departed believers is to advance what they lived for. What's next? But here's the most shocking twist. The Bible hints that some of the dead may already be walking among us, not as ghosts, but as resurrected beings in a mystery that predates the final resurrection. The resurrected among us, a mystery few notice. Matthew's Gospel contains one of Scripture's most perplexing passages. The tombs also were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. And coming out of the tombs after his resurrection, they went into the holy city and appeared to many. Matthew 27:52-53. This wasn't zombie apocalypse fiction. It was a divine preview of resurrection power that shattered death's grip prematurely. These saints walked Jerusalem's streets as living proof that Christ's victory reached backward through time to reclaim what death had stolen. This changes everything. The final resurrection isn't just future hope, it's already broken into history through these mysterious first fruits of eternity. Why these resurrections differ from Lazarus. Lazarus returned mortal, still bound by aging, needing food, facing death again. These saints rose glorified, no record of their second deaths, possibly ascended with Christ, Ephesians 4:8. They weren't resuscitated corpses, they were resurrection prototypes. The dead who walked through walls. John's Gospel reveals another stunning post-resurrection reality. Jesus' new body could materialize in locked rooms, John 20:19, yet still eat fish, Luke 24:42-43. This supernatural physicality hints at what Paul would later describe, a spiritual body, 1 Corinthians 15:44, that transcends our current limitations while retaining tangible substance. Those Matthew's resurrected saints may have moved similarly through Jerusalem, their appearance is brief but transformative for those who saw them. Your future body won't be less real. It will be more real than you've ever known. How this should reshape your view of death. Grief gains perspective. Separation is temporary. Reunion is guaranteed. Life gains urgency. Every day prepares you for eternal assignments. Hope gains substance. Resurrection isn't metaphor, it's physical reality. The grave is just a chrysalis. What emerges will astonish the universe, the final word. Death's darkness cannot withstand the light of Christ's resurrection. Whether in paradise's comfort or Hades' anguish, every soul awaits the coming day when death is swallowed up in victory. 1 Corinthians 15:54. Until then, we live as those who know the dead are neither gone nor silent, but active participants in God's unfolding drama of redemption. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload.